Hello and welcome back. Back to Battlefield, Bootleg Battlefield 4. So today we've got another map here. We got, let's see, Kirku Basin. Let's do Kubra Dam. Or no, how about Liberation of Leipzig. I think this is another 2142 map. They put a lot of maps in this mod, and they seem to just be like a collage of different games. So thus I call this a bootleg because it's like what the fuck. I think what the fuck it is just they band-aided a bunch of shit, reappropriated animations, guns, textures, sounds, models, and whatever, and then just duct taped a huge map pack together. Might have been some little 12-year-old who made this. Fuck if I know. COVID-19 gave people a lot of time. Gave me a lot of time, so I went back to the Xbox 360 to have fun. And I was really ahead of the curve. I was about a year or two ahead of the curve. People found out the same shit I did, but I already knew it for about a couple more years than they did. See, they were more busy with PlayStation 1 and 2, and I'm like, PlayStation 2 and 1 and Nintendo 64 back in 2020, that's not where it's at. Those are fun for like a while, but they're not substantive. The controls were clunky, the visuals were kind of bland. The things just didn't look good ultimately, and it was like, okay, yeah, maybe that's just not where the shit is supposed to be at. Meanwhile, Xbox 360, it's got all the stuff you usually like, plus the benefits of being able to run on a crappy computer, plus good controls and options and settings. So it's like, okay, how about you go for more of that? In my case, I do like a kind of beefed up Xbox 360 game, because I think early Xbox One is the technical state of that, but then you just have the features of Xbox 360. Because a lot of games from that time, when you look at all the Season Pass stuff, like a Call of Duty game and the Season Pass is like 40 fucking maps. And how much does the Call of Duty Deluxe Edition with the Season Pass often cost? Not much. Sometimes it's free if you know where to look. Plus, they're really fun games. I would know because that seems to be the most played stuff on PlayStation 3. Yeah, 20 years after PlayStation 3, you can still go online, normally, no jailbreaking, no funny business required, and just play a match of Call of Duty. Sure, they might be in various states of technical disarray, like Black Ops 1 or Modern Warfare 2, won't save your progress, so if you level up, you're not going to be able to keep it when you restart your game, but little issues like those aside, they work. Call of Duty Ghosts, that's a game that fully works as intended. Call of Duty World at War, um, Advanced Warfare, also the old classic Call of Duties 1, 2, and 3. And 3 was a console exclusive, so it's like one of the only places you can play it. They didn't put it on the computer for some reason. Why? I don't know. Couldn't tell you. But they just decided that they would not. Couldn't save me. I'm one with the Force now. And there were also just different versions of this game. Battlefield 2 Modern Combat was actually and there was actually Gameloft. They did put a few I think they did put a Modern Combat game on the PlayStation 3. It was like a cheap $10 PlayStation Network title that's a better Counter-Strike for consoles than what Valve was able to pull for CS:GO. Shit. Counter-Strike 2 was a big disappointment. I like Counter-Strike Online 2 more because the maps and the gameplay and the characters as well were very nice. And when they had sexualized, characters in that game, right? You could just turn the shit off most times. I think they didn't just force it in by default. Or you'd have to pay a lot, and that's usually the thing. It became kind of prohibitively expensive. Like, you would have to spend a lot of money to look like, I don't know, a fairy or something, but they also had zombies and fantastical elements in the game. Plus, Counter-Strike is a little bit silly, and there's just shitloads of custom maps and content for that game, so that's sort of the whole appeal. So with a game like that, I could give it a pass. Plus, it also had a fun but kind of short campaign mode, so that was pretty awesome too. Like, hey, they were actually innovating. They made a story mode. They made, you know, this, and that. They added zombie survival. Hey, that's really fucking cool. And there is a Russian, like, mod that allows you to play it, but I don't know if there's any way to play it offline. Plus, you don't even need an email to play it, so that's pretty awesome. You don't need to... You can make an account, but you're not required to make an emails, which is why I kind of trust it a little bit more. Because it's like, okay, you can just add an email if you need a recovery account or something, but if you just want to make a shitty username and password and that's all you want, well, who cares? It's like nobody plays it, right? The game has bot support, though. It works pretty much in its entirety with bots. So it's like, yeah, that's fucking awesome. It's the one time that Valve actually greenlit a real fucking Counter-Strike sequel that it would have been really good. If they had ported that to Source 2, my god, that would have been awesome. But, see, we can't have too many good things with Valve. Counter-Strike Online 2 is the real shit. That's the real fucking Counter-Strike 2. Now, I might not like the overused, you know, sexual characters and anime stuff with the weird underage girls and shit, but the rest of the game is fine. It didn't stop me from playing Metal Gear Solid 5, and thankfully that's more so because it's like, that was optional. It was not required to progress to go do the weird pause quest or quiet. If you're gonna have this in a game, just let me choose if I can do it, you know? Don't shove it in my face and tell me I'm racist or sexist if I don't agree, because that's just weird. I'm not racist or sexist for wanting to play a game and not be told that. I'm doing this for leisure. You know, racism and sexism would imply that there's some form of violence against these people that I have done. No, I have not. My day consisted of doing chores, doing the laundry, taking care of my dogs, going for a walk, getting exercise, and being a good person around my household. At no point in my day did I go outside and hurt people. So it's a video game. The same way that you would say, oh no, there's an action movie. And they're killing people in the action movie. Therefore, because you went and sat on your ass in a theater, you're also a killer. It would be stupid. No. You don't... If you watch an action movie like Saving Private Ryan, that doesn't instantaneously make you a murderer. No, it just means you watched a cool movie. You were sitting on your ass. Oh, well, I don't like the movie. Okay, well, you're not required to watch it to live. Oh, well, some of my friends watched it. Okay, then could you just tell your friends that you're not comfortable discussing that and you don't want to talk about it? If it hurts your feelings, you can just talk about something else. And I look at that time as well. It's like, oh, the army games hurt my feelings. They were too intense for me. Okay, well, that's fine. You know, you had anime, you had SpongeBob. There were tons of kids' games out there. There were other stuff that was more calm. There were puzzle games, graphic novels, adventure games. Yeah, there were all kinds of stuff. So if you were dissatisfied by Call of Duty and action, well, you had about 20 to 50 other options. And they were all just relatively seemingly made by normal people. They didn't put like mental health as some big fucking part of it. When I play Transformers Revenge of the Fallen, the same way when I play My Little Pony, or Missplosion Man Missplosion Man. Very girly game. It's very clearly, designed for girls. I still played that when I was a kid. Guess what? They didn't have weird mental health, seminars. They didn't fucking lecture me on how people die from explosions. They didn't add weird, violent facts into that stuff. That made sense for an army game, but that wasn't in every fucking game. I remember when loading tips used to be a thing. They would tell you things while you're loading. Some games would even let you play while you were loading, like Bayonetta. And then there would be, like, other stuff. But nobody really made it part of their personality to hyperfixate on these things the way they tend to do now. which kind of throws me off of some other big channels who have good points, but then they'll just, like, interject this thing in there. And it just kind of ruins the rest of the video, where it's like, okay, this is a good video, except for the part where you constantly mention sex and dick and all this other shit. So I'm just gonna not want to watch that video. Which, hey, you know, guilty, I'm doing that right now, but an observation, not so much complaining. But obviously it's not without merit. Like, if I'm talking about this thing, and in my case, I'm actually trying to make a solution to it, I'm trying to make my own video game, it's relevant discussion to have for the time, even if it makes people feel uncomfortable, because I feel pretty uncomfortable I can't play an action game. What about me? Why am I treated like garbage? I didn't have a problem with these people coming in until they made it a problem. No, they made fun games. I wanted to play them. I might not have liked the, you know, offline stuff, but they don't listen to that part. They just listen to, oh, this person doesn't like me because I'm this person. No, it's not. No, it isn't. You're going to have people who are like that, but oftentimes that is the smallest minority of people, and trying to judge everybody as if they do that is the problem. It's like, you know, if you tried to judge everybody for whacking you, when you got whacked by one dickweed who said, I like America, okay, well, that doesn't mean all Americans want to hurt you. That's not the way that works. You know what it'll be, is maybe people are like, oh, I didn't know that. And then they'll just go on walking through the street. You go outside and tell somebody, you know, I am this or that. As long as you're not saying you're a killer or a murderer or you're going to hurt them, I think you'll be fine. Hi there, this is a robbery. Now, if you say that, that's going to get some fucking attention. That's a threat. You don't go outside and threaten people. So why the fuck are they new video games coming out basically doing the same shit? You don't yell fire in a crowd or a theater. That's hate speech. But hey, as long as you're this way or that way, oh well, it's fine because you're endangered. How are you in danger? You have nothing but friends. Every company from here to Timbuktu has given you nothing but attention, love, care, and everybody and their dog says, I don't have a problem with you, so why do you have a problem with me? Because it's about control. It's about control. It's about, oh, everybody has to feel my way, or they get to die. That's dumb. It's what I warn about in the tirade about tech and culture. Opportunists. People who love taking advantage of shit. Sorry state of affairs. Some of my favorite companies. Because I like EA. I like Activision. I like Ubisoft. I'm not critical of them because I want them to fail. In fact, you know, I'm not critical of Xbox and Microsoft because I want them to fail. I'm critical of them because I like their games. I grew up with a lot of this stuff. Even if I didn't play it, I'd watched other people who did. I didn't understand what Halo Reach was. All I understood is there's a fun game where this guy plays as a superhero in an armored suit, and, you know, he fights the aliens, and he protects the humans, but the humans don't always like each other. Why? Because, I don't know, some of them just don't like the cops. But hey, if the cops showed up to my house, I probably wouldn't be very happy either, so, yeah, fair enough. That was a theme in a few games, but it wasn't, like, the only theme. Man down, 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 man down. Gotta help him. Clear. I think we're winning. Oh, fuck. Well, he blew me up, but I think I blew up 3 people. Alright, help me. Oh, no. Russia's all over me. It could help me, D. Rickard. Blow him up. Holy shit. Go down. I'm taking you with me. You don't get this in a new game. You don't get this in the new games with My Little Pony and colors and all this. Or oftentimes when you do, it's like so rare and far and few between. This cool, intense moments in a big battlefield. Oh my god. It was the thing that Call of Duty ultimately didn't get right, but I feel like if this game had come out, you know, and they had better graphics, somebody remasters this with, I don't know, RTX reshade, the thing that RTX remix, that would be able to work. Like, reshade never died. It just got concealed in Google search results, mostly because of, you know, NVIDIA paying to put more results up there. So if you ever wonder what happened to reshade, I still use it on my YouTube channel for a few games. So you know, Call of Duty, especially this right now, I'm using reshade for. It works. And mostly reshade I'm using it for is bloom and color correction, so it looks a little bit more like Battlefield 3, but you can only do so much with a game like this where man down, man down, man down, man. They're gonna fuck me up. No, they're not. I win. I have huge lists of games that people can go find. So if you want, and you're new to this channel, sometimes I go on rants. Often they don't amount to anything, but it's little observations like these that I've found interesting to make, just because of kind of where the gaming landscape, you know, how people discuss them, how people discuss things online. The internet usually has gone. My concern is making the most out of a bad situation with games like these. This game has been abandoned. You can't find people online. If you can, it's not for any mods. You would never be able to play this with other people. So bot matches are the only way you can pretty much go. If you want to have fun with games with bots, you're basically screwed. I like games with bots, because I grew up with games like Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, where I would fight in the survival mode against waves and waves of bots. And I played all kinds of stuff, Lego Star Wars, NPCs, Skyrim, Mario, you name it. Games like those, right? And they weren't afraid of being fun and gamey, because it's a video game. If it's a video game, the core point of it is to be fun. Even if it's a little cheesy, I think people are willing to overlook that if you just give them reasons to overlook it. Most of these flaws in games kind of become apparent as a result of something not being working in a way that it should. In this case, usually the controls are clunky, the engine isn't particularly good, it doesn't run well. But with new technology, a better engine, way more guns, this core idea could amount to something. It's what's really been missing, I think, in a lot of games. Excuse me there as well, so sorry. Dr. K loves to come up. Kroger, my weakness. But the thing that kind of pops up in a lot of these games is they've removed a lot of the ability for you as an individual to ever have fun. You're not allowed to have fun because you want to have fun. You're only allowed to have fun because 20 people feel this way. And I feel like when people are left to themselves, they tend to have this mob mentality where you're either with us or you're against us. You pick one issue with us, you pick an issue with everything for all of us. And we saw how well that sort of, you know, only a Sith Lord deals in absolutes. You know, you see how well that works for Darth Vader if you've seen Star Wars. It didn't work very well for him. He got both his legs and his hand cut off, and he was left to die in a volcano. Yeah. That's not what I want to see happen to a lot of big AAA franchises, but if it's the way that it has to happen so that someone like me or I can outright make progress, if you gotta crack a few eggs to make an omelet, so be it. I have been seeing some very reassuring signs. There are good YouTube channels like Lag PS3. Bitter Roman is another one. Windows XP gameplays. There are people who just play games on these old consoles. They still try to use them. It turns out a lot of them still work. It's been 20 fucking years, and most of this was just made to last. I think the last Windows operating system that really truly stood out was Windows 8. And it's why I still theme my operating system to look like it sometimes. I've kind of switched it up here and there just because it's fun, but that operating system, games from that time, Halo 4, Quantum Break, Metal Gear Solid 5, Mafia 3, Battlefield 1, Battlefield 4 as well, Far Cry 4, Far Cry 5. It was really 2019. 2020 came along. Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War was the last fun action game I can remember playing. And everything after has just been a haze of terrible, terrible news, terrible releases, unfun, insulting, patronizing stuff. Halo Infinite. There are these dumbasses who are sitting on a couch acting so fucking arrogant. It's disgusting. And they couldn't even sell me on this game. You know, if they paid me $100 fucking, I wouldn't play this game. And I need $100 fucking. I would love $100 fucking. And I couldn't be fucked to play that game. Because it is that bad. You would need to pay me a lot more than that, and you'd need to make a better fucking game before I ever considered it. And I would get to spit in the face of whoever the fuck's in charge over there. After I get done beating the shit out of them. Because what the fuck was that? What the fuck was that video game? You know, obviously, being hyperbolic. But you get what I fucking mean. I'm disappointed. Real fucking disappointed. And this is not the way that this shit should be. I know better, and I have an opportunity to do better. But I don't just stop at that. I think that other people, they know better, but they don't know how to do better. I didn't know how to do better for a very long time. And it was not something that ever came, naturally. And I'm the sort of person who, if people are able to gain something from my struggles and make their own game the best they can, I would encourage them to do so. I would encourage them to look at Rogue Planet. This is the work of one guy, sole proprietor here, making his own game on Unreal 4 or Game Guru. Oh, well, he struggled with this, but I could do that. And then they make their own cool game. And then another guy sees it, and another guy sees it, another, and another, and another. And I would hope it would spark a chain reaction that would get this positive feedback loop of people making more games like this. Would that happen, though? I doubt it. People most times lack direction and initiative. They say they want authenticity, they want originality, and they want creativity. I really don't know what's more creative than games like this, because they constantly had to come up with new excuses for you to shoot people. And they were really fucking good at it. They were really good at it. To this day, nothing ever matched them. It's pretty awesome. Just a shame to see that, the people who took over, the promising stuff they had with Halo 4 and 5 and Gears of War 4 and 5 and all this has just been lost. They did it to themselves. They could never really, truly, in the public eye, get the hearts and minds of people because they built their own undoing into the software they made. They built their own punishments, their own restrictions, and they tried to treat second-class gaming like it was a first-class solution. And everybody fucking knew better, but it didn't stop them from buying it. Knowing better and doing better are two different things. And I know this video is getting on, kind of dragging out a bit, so I better get going. Thanks for watching.